All right, and we start this week with the sun in Pisces and the moon in Taurus. That's water and earth vibes, friends. That's about reflection and also about our personal sense of security. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Astro Insights. My name is Mel Rose, and this is where we discuss the current astrology, the coming week in astrology. Thank you so much for being here. Today is Sunday, February 22nd, 2026. Friends, there is rarely a more impactful time in astrology. There rarely has been a more impactful time in astrology to be really paying attention to what's going on. And I mean, we are really in the thick of it right now. The past few weeks have been biggies. We had Neptune enter Aries, and then we had Saturn enter Aries. That's moving across that line from the very end of the zodiac at the end of Pisces into the beginning of the zodiac at Aries. So big new beginnings kind of vibrations. This past week, we had a new moon in Aquarius ruled by Saturn in Aries for the first time with a solar eclipse just before the sun entered Pisces this past week. And then Saturn and Neptune met up at 0 degrees of Aries, the beginning of the entire 360 degrees of the zodiac for the first time in ever. I mean, for real, that's the truth. For the first time in recorded history, the first time we know of. These are consequential vibrations, friends. If you're paying attention at all, you can see it around you. You can tell that we are at an inflection point. You can probably feel it. I feel like there's a certain amount of desperation in the air right now. I think for things that we are tired of, things that we see clearly now, things that we no longer want to have going on. We're really ready to see some things reach a conclusion and watch a new day dawn. And though the fog is clearing and many things are much more clear to us now than they seem to have been a few months ago, the conflict brought on by these revelations continues to reign supreme. Conflict is the name of the game right now. So in the coming week, it's not as though things will suddenly become less intense. We are in the doorway between the first two eclipses of the year, looking at things under a different light, expecting some surprises. Saturn and Neptune are still conjunct at the beginning of Aries. Mercury is turning retrograde, and other astrology as well. So life right now is anything but business as usual, friends. This vibration is unpredictable in the extreme. But if something can be predicted about it, it's that something is leaving us. Things are leaving us. Or more to the point, we are collectively putting some things behind us. The sun is in Pisces, after all. That's the last sign of the zodiac, and it encourages us to relax and reflect, to acknowledge the contracts we've completed, acknowledge the things that didn't work out, and tie up whatever loose ends we have before we move on into spring just next month, just a few weeks away, friends. So let's start from the top. Today, we have sun in Pisces, moon in Taurus. This is a creative kind of vibration. It can help us sort of imagine or idealize that ultimate state of security for ourselves. Mars is in Aquarius, and it's having a cooperative talk with Chiron today, where Chiron is currently in Aries being ruled by Mars. So Chiron's talking to kind of the person in charge of Chiron right now. Did you ever hear someone say, what is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get different results, right? Mars in Aquarius is actively open to alternatives where it comes to mending fences, solving problems, perhaps healing some old wounds of the past. Chiron says, here's the problem. And Aries, I mean, not Aries, but Mars says, I have an unconventional idea for a plan of action. So really, open yourself up, be aware of the alternatives to solving the problems that you're looking to solve in your life right now, and be a little open to them, because Mars in Aquarius is available to do some things a little bit differently at this time. Differently than it normally would, right? Because Mars is very assertive, but Aquarius is fixed air. So fixed air really wants us to think about our options and make an approach that has the broadest and best possible impact. Also today, Venus is trining with Jupiter in Cancer. And these are both of our benefics. Those are both of our good news planets, Venus and Jupiter. Each of them is exalted in the sign that they're in. So they are both at their best. Venus in Pisces, Jupiter in Cancer. It is raining blessings of glory on us. And they are singing in harmony with one another. So it's beautiful, it's juicy, it's sweet, it's easy to access a sense of optimism and to express our desire today. And this week, this is the vibe that we have going into this week. I wonder what we'll do with that. What a nice way to begin the week, with new opportunities for healing and an abundance of love and confidence and positive vibrations. Tomorrow is Monday the 23rd, and the moon is going to move into Gemini tomorrow evening. So this Monday through Wednesday, the personal life focus shifts from that Taurus style concern for feeling secure and having all the supplies you need to that Gemini style concern and value for information, communication, data sharing. And then on the evening of Wednesday the 25th, the moon comes home to the sign of Cancer. Like, there's really nothing going on except the moon traveling through Gemini Monday through Wednesday. And then on the evening of the 25th, the moon comes home to the sign of Cancer, and the personal life shifts again from that, collecting data and information and sharing kind of vibration to a different kind of sharing vibration, where we are protecting our homes and keeping safe those people that we keep close. Okay, so when the moon is in Cancer, the moon is the mind is very much on the self, the private life, the private spaces, and the private relationships. And while the moon is in Cancer this week, starting on Wednesday, Mercury is going to station retrograde. And that happens on Wednesday night, Thursday morning around 1 in the morning. If you're where I am, I'm in Central Standard Time. These retrogrades last about 3 weeks, the Mercury retrograde. This one is in Pisces, which makes it a particularly challenging Mercury retrograde that may do a lot to help us realize what's coming to a close for us, what endings are showing up on the horizon. Pay attention in the coming 3 weeks to the things that don't get said, okay? The questions you didn't ask, pay attention. Like, oh, I should have asked that question, or I wanted to ask that question, or why didn't I ask that question? Why didn't I say that thing? Why didn't I bring this to everybody's awareness? The answers that weren't forthcoming, pay attention. The information that's still pending, that's still out there, that you're still waiting to find out, especially from now through about March 20th, March 21st, spring equinox. The gaps in the story, the things that are not being said, those things mean as much as the details that we do have, okay? And naturally, when Mercury is retrograde, which happens a few times every year, it's best not to sign any contracts that you're not certain you can fulfill, or shake on anything that you're not certain you can live up to. I know that what often happens for me is that when Mercury is retrograde, someone comes to me with an opportunity, or an opportunity pops up for me. It will present itself in some way. And in my optimism, because I feel very optimistic, I sign on before I can think of any questions to ask, okay? Mercury in Pisces is really trying to translate a mystery. And Mercury retrograde in Pisces is like being present in the mystery and knowing that it can't be translated. So, I just understand that there are things that go unsaid. There are things that people hesitate to say, or just don't know how to communicate at this time, and pay as much attention to that stuff as the rest, as the things that are being said. Definitely still dot your I's, cross your T's, look at your contracts before you sign them. Then on Friday, Venus and Mars both have something to say. First, pretty early on in the day on Friday, Mars is going to square off with Uranus. Now, Mars is nearing the end of Aquarius. Uranus is nearing the end of Taurus. That's a square, and it's fixed energy. Aquarius and Taurus are both fixed signs. So it's perhaps, going to bring up some stubbornness, some desire to dig in our heels as we run into, over, or around obstacles and maybe just sort of some surprises. Uranus brings about sudden, quick changes, things we didn't expect, that help us shift our perspective to the whole new world that's around us. So, that can be a little bit frustrating, Mars and Uranus in that square vibration. And it echoes back to Saturn's side of the Saturn and Neptune conjunction at the beginning of Aries, which is still going on. Saturn is not comfortable in Aries, but it does lend us a great deal of stick-to-itiveness, okay? So if there's something of value that you are reaching for in your life right now, and an annoying obstacle arises to sort of test your determination, see how bad you want it, stick to the plan, friend. Keep trying. Look for alternative ways even to make your goals. That's what Mars in Aquarius is all about. And then the second thing on Friday is more late in the evening. And that's Mercury retrograde's conjunction to Venus. So Mercury is our planet for planning and routines and communication. And it's going to be combined and under pressure with our planet for getting what we want. And though conjunctions don't necessarily translate as positive or negative, the presence here of Venus, exalted in Pisces, really does a lot to balance the fact of Mercury's retrograde here. It's like it creates an opening for us to really speak from the heart, and make our pitch for what we really like, love, and can't get enough of. Okay, we are in a mode on Friday of being able to woo the world and other people with words of kindness, with intentions of kindness, with a certain amount of receptivity in the way that we express our plans. So we start the week on these very positive and helpful vibrations that should make it easy all week for us to see where we can apply a little or a lot of loving kindness to solve a problem that way. Okay. And then in the middle of the week, Mercury turns retrograde. We expect disruptions in our plans and routines, but we don't let them stop us from taking care of business. We just have to kind of slow down and follow through. Mercury retrograde always feels to me a little like there are too many cars on the road. Like the traffic is really thick. So, we have to be more careful. We have to pay attention to the car in front of us, beside us, and behind us, and we have to make sure that we are signaling clearly and following the rules so that, everybody else can signal clearly and follow the rules, and we can all make it where we're going, even if it's a little bit more difficult. Then, as we leave this week, Mars squares Uranus and Venus conjoins Mercury. There's more of a struggle here than at the beginning of the week. But we are still under skies that make us feel determined to make a new start. So whatever surprises might come up for you in the middle of this week or at the end of the week, just understand that we can expect surprises at this time. It occurs to me that Mars squaring Uranus is ruled by Uranus right now, because Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So it doesn't have to be all bad. It can just be something surprising that opens us up to taking action in a different way, because we want some different results, right? Okay, that is it for this week's astrology. Next, Jennifer is going to come on here and we're going to discuss our favorite